Yeah, it's great to connect, man. I'd like to begin our journey into your new album
Hmm.
with the people by asking first and foremost. I know we're getting tired of talking about COVID, but it was such a big thing for musicians. How did you get through that time period, and how has it changed the way that you do things now?
Um, well, we all had lot of free time ish. So I took advantage of that and I started practicing a lot. I started studying people, reading, and I was lucky. I also was teaching online. So it was a nice balance. And I live close to a forest. So the forest was my place for inspiration and to forget about things. um and yeah, I wrote a lot of stuff, I practiced a lot. It was a good time for reflecting. Yeah.
So when you talk about New Jersey and the forest, I think sometimes people think Jersey is so close to New York, they don't realize that it's the Garden State. That's what you guys are. You guys have the greenery and the goods.
Yeah, well, I'm right in front of New York. Like,
Right.
I just crossed the GW bridge
Okay.
from 175th Street and I'm at home.
I gotcha.
So I can see the river, I can see the city. I'm very lucky that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the brand new album. I'd like to
Hmm.
know with the people, I'd like to know what was kind of the artistic vision that went into this project.
Yeah. So I come from Ecuador, South America, small country, but very rich in culture and different kinds of people in a very small place. And I felt like underrepresented here in the States. So at some point, I wanted to do like a Latin jazz, but again, I'm not Cuban or Puerto Rican or whatever. So I wanted to do something that represents me as a person, as a citizen of the world. I started combining Ecuadorian folk music, where I come from, and combining it with jazz and composition. And it started taking a form. And that was my concept, to do this, to have a little bit of an identity. So, and I think we were able to get that. When you hear the album, when you listen to the album, you can hear the different elements of my country's music combined with the harmonies of jazz. It's really cool. It turns into something meditative.
I,
Yes.
I always love that when people can take their native language and worlds and mix it. I mean, it just adds an extra layer. It adds so much that personalizes the album. Um,
Mhm.
and with that said, what are you ultimately hoping the listener gets from this album?
um I hope people have the chance to listen from the beginning till the end, because that is when you get the full picture of the album. But again, nobody has the time, right? I wish if somebody can immerse into the thing, and every piece takes you to another place, and at the end is like a relief of everything. Like, I just died, me myself, at the end of the album. I died. That's how I felt. Like, okay, bye.
That's it.
Whatever happens with this, I don't know, but is me, and is my little footprint in this world. So I hope the listener gets that feeling of the mountain.
Yeah.
I feel like the mountain gives you a lot of view, a lot of air, and that's what I hope people can feel it. Also, the music that I make is based on the Indian people, indigenous people. A lot of people do this, but with Afro-oriented music, which is easier to combine. But the Indian music is different. It's very kind of simple and repetitive. So in a way, it's kind of harder to create grooves and stuff. But I got really into it, and I started imagining grooves and changing little things so that you get a sense of a different groove. Yeah, you just have to listen to
Yeah,
it.
totally, totally. And it's always
Yeah.
better from front to back. So take me back to your roots in Ecuador. Talk to me about when you picked up the bass and how jazz became your focal point.
Yes. So my family, it's from the side of my dad. There are a lot of musicians, starting from my grandfather. He used to be a flute player. He used to play everywhere. And my dad plays harp, plays guitar. My mom sings. All my uncles play their guitar or flute. So all the time when we had family gatherings, everyone was playing, and I just remember that, and I just grabbed like a small percussion and played with them. So I was always surrounded by music at home. And then my father would bring like recordings, and I would just fall in love into new sounds like jazz. Then I started playing the guitar, electric bass for my brother's band when I was like 11, because it's hard to get bass players, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
His friend doesn't want it to learn it because I think it was too hard, the strings, you know.
yeah,
And I just started it, and when you get into music, then you start meeting people, going places. It's just so beautiful.
yeah,
I was at a Catholic school, and I was playing always in a church, having rehearsals. I just loved it. That's like my connection to God. Like when I play, that's my way of being connected to not really a religion, but something bigger than us. That creates all this world and beauty for us to enjoy. But we humans are a little bad.
yeah. We are a little bad. I get it. What brought you to America? Was that always a dream of yours to come over here?
Yes, I always wanted, jazz. I always wanted to come to New York because of jazz music, get better on my playing, because I started also learning upright bass because of a radio program at home. This guy would play like jazz. But the funny thing is, like, he would interrupt all the time. He was like, listen to the hi-hat now. Listen to the guy's left hand while you are listening to the music. Uh, anyway, it was kind of funny, but I got introduced to jazz through that radio program. And yeah, I wanted to come to New York because of the music, of the culture that I admire so much. And I got to meet great people, play with amazing musicians. It's almost like a surreal experience when you get to play with legends like Dave Liebman, or you go to a gig and the guy sitting there is the guy you've been listening for years. It's a great place to learn
Yeah.
music. Yeah.
So what was the first live jazz show you ever witnessed that blew you away, that made you think, I want to do that one day?
Oh, I think it was in Ecuador at a big theater, Casa de la Cultura, the House of Culture is it called.
Yeah.
And it was like a British band. I don't remember the name, but the bassist was great, man. And I went with my dad, and for some reason I was like cursing. I
Yeah.
was cursing. Fuck this, right? Like, I love this shit, you motherfucker. I was like out there. And my dad was like, "Hey, calm down. Maybe the bassist can hear you and he's gonna get mad at you." But I was so excited, and I felt like air blowing in my face. I don't know, it was like a strange experience. I felt like freedom on my face, jazz.
Yeah.
And I just fell in love with the music and everything that involves. Of course, it's not an easy path to take, but so far it's been good to me.
Yeah. Yeah. So what is it that in the beginning, who did you emulate from the world of jazz? You've clearly found your voice, but what were some influential players, musicians that really helped you find your footing?
um, at the beginning, I played a lot of electric bass, so I would listen to Marcus Miller, and I would emulate his playing. Then I move on to the acoustic bass, and I didn't have many resources like names and stuff, but I would listen and try to transcribe and play by ear. But now that I know what it was Ray Brown or just the what was that? The modern jazz quartet, stuff like that. Miles Davis. Then I learned about Jacko, and that was opened my mind, blew my mind.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, the little bits of information that I had, I really appreciated and tried to learn of it. Or I just listened too much all day. I was listening to music. I would turn all the lights around me off and just be on the floor and listen. Like, I was crazy, man. Yeah.
So what do you like the best about being a professional musician? What gets you up every day? What continually motivates you to be better and to be a part of this jazz community?
The sound of the instrument. The more love you give to the instrument, the more it comes back to you. Um, yeah, I think just studying my instrument makes me happy. I wish they would pay me for practicing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is my dream job. But I just love practicing.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
let me ask you this. If you could get into a time machine and go
Mm.
back in time and see one jazz show anywhere at any time, where are you going to go?
Wow. Just one show.
You can have a couple. We can hit a few.
For sure, I would love to see Jacko live
Yeah.
or Miles. Mm, the one the blue note, the kind of blue that would or see Coltrane, the legends.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I dig
dream.
it. No, th those would be wonderful shows. So at the end of the day, your allegiance, you love jazz, obviously. But tell me why you love it. What is it that you love about this art form?
Mm, it's not only jazz. I also love classical music and
Sure.
other stuff, but I love that you as a musician you can grow so much, um, and it gives you freedom. All the stuff that you learn gives you musical freedom to play other styles of music. That's what I like. I just like the fact that it makes me a better musician, and my ears get better because of jazz, and my sense of rhythm gets better because of it. It's just um, it's just an art form that allows you to find other ways to get better musically. Instead of classical music is different, of course. I also study that, and I also love that. it's,
Yeah.
it's, it's hard. I have to choose one or the other or combine it also. Yeah.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, Carlos, everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, fans, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
As an artist,
Probably overall, yeah, just kind of anybody that knows you has this idea of who they
mm,
think you are in different capacities. As a person, as a musician, and fans that consume your music, but you ultimately are in control of whatever anybody feels and perceives you as. Who do you think you are?
well, I'm mainly a bassist, and that means I'm holding everybody together. Um, that's my function as a musician, but also that transcends into who I am. So I am that person that try to bring peace into a group, I
Yeah.
think. Um, and that's been always my personality, I think, like being a peaceful person, positive and deep, like my instrument, deep in a sense of I like things that are well done.
Yeah.
I don't like half stuff. Sometimes you have to do that because of time, but me personally, for my music, I expect from me and my mates to bring the best. And there's been times where I I had this experience of like almost getting out of myself and surprise myself because sometimes I don't know myself when I'm on the stage. Is a different personality that comes out. I'm sort of a shy person, but on the stage it can change.
So if anyone wants to pick up a copy of With the People, catch you live, anything else going on in your world, where's the best place to go?
You can go to my webpage. All the information is there, carlosmenamusic.com. And I was lucky to have a recording label, which is Pinch Recording here in New York City. They are located in Long Island City. It started as a small studio, but now it has grown and is now they have a new location in Long Island City, and it's beautiful. Um, I miss your question. No, your question is where can they find my music, right?
Sure. Yeah, where can they
It's
get it?
also on Spotify
Okay.
under Carlos Mena, my name,
Yeah.
and the record is called "With the People, con Personas." Mm-hmm.
Okay. Excellent. Carlos, this has been wonderful. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your story. Thank you for your time. Best of luck with
Thank you,
everything.
thank you, Joe.
Yes, sir.
Have a good one, and